My final message to the congregation this morning is Emmanuel, God with us, the name given to our Lord at his birth. I profoundly believe that God is with us today, with this world, which he has not abandoned, calling us back to himself, inviting us to come to him to find full and abundant life, to be part of his kingdom. Our Lord is calling us, calling all who are weary and heavy laden and anxious, come unto me, and I will give you rest. I wonder if this isn't a primary need of man, to find rest in God. The psalmist says, be still and know that I am God. Listen to two of the great saints of the church, St. Augustine, when he says, our hearts are restless until they find their rest in thee. And St. Francis of Assisi asked two questions. What is greater than words? Action. What is greater than action? Silence. Do we need to be still and know that God is with us? Do we need to be still in his presence, alone with our Lord, utterly silent, to know beyond any shadow of doubt that the Lord loves us with an eternal love, that we are forgiven, made whole, his sons and daughters? Do we need to do what Jesus did? O Sabbath rest by Galilee, O calm of hills above, when Jesus knelt to share with thee the silence of eternity, interpreted by love. Is that a primary need for us all before we begin all our doing? And yes, we are called to action, called to go out into this world. Where? Well, where did Jesus go? To ordinary people, ordinary homes, healing the sick, touching the untouchable, sharing in a wedding feast with the outcast and stranger, and finally on a cross, transforming death into new and glorious life. God's message to the world today, to the anxious, the lonely, the locked in, those not knowing when this will end, those all crying out, is a realization, first of all, that we are all vulnerable, young and old alike. We are all part of a worldwide suffering family. And God is calling his church and his people to share and care, to weep with those who weep, and to rejoice with those who do rejoice. Is God not saying to us, the time for division is past? The time for war in Syria and other places is over. The feud between the Israelis and Palestinians is tragic. We need to learn to live in peace. The refugee crisis is an abomination which should never have happened. And what are you doing, mankind, to my good earth? Let me finish in a gloriously joyous note, because I believe there are green shoots appearing. I believe that people are beginning to appreciate afresh their families, their friends, their loved ones, their neighbours. I've chatted to neighbours which I haven't met or seen in years. Amazing help is being offered by the most unlikely people. Are we learning new ways to communicate? The good news is this: suffering, pain, death, loneliness, isolation do not have the last word. The last word is with God. Christ has conquered. His love has triumphed. He is risen. We have nothing to fear. God's kingdom of love is being built. The Prince of Peace will reign. It will happen. Let all the earth rejoice. To God be the glory.